Hi, welcome to part two of Foreigner in the Filipino Food Biz and the history of our eatery, the Blue Carabao Eatery. We left off with food reviewers, and we just finished talking about Buck Branham and giving us our first review on the Blue Carabao Eatery. Now, our next experience was an experience. This was by a blogger by the name of Bluggy. That was his actual last name. And so he came into our place unannounced and sat down and had some food with a friend of his. And as I'm cleaning the tables, volunteering my time cleaning tables, we're all hustling in there. And he called me over and asked me if a few questions, and that was it. Well, about 2 weeks later, all these people started coming, and I'm trying to figure out what is going on here. So I go online, and all you have to do is put in there Blue Carabao Eatery, and you'll get the latest news or something, or if somebody does a review, it'll pop up. So here's this review from this blogie. Now, this guy's got quite a following, and he won an award for Blog of the Year. So needless to say, he had a lot of followers. Well, Mr. Man, it was waves upon waves of people coming. We call it tsunami, is what it was, because that's the way it was. We'd look up the street from our place on Oberto and Davao, and if we looked up to your left, you could see the mall up there. It's called Victoria Plaza. And you could see this wall of people coming towards you. And I'd start hollering, "Get ready, here it comes." So every battle stations, battle stations, it was really something else. So we were very grateful to Bloggy for that. He really helped us to get some very good exposure, and that helped us. That gives us funds to be able to uh, modernize this eatery. You, in the Philippines, you have street food, like carts, and the next stage up from that is what they call a carinderia. Basically, it's just a small little spot, maybe with a bench, and you got some food in a plate, and you just point toro toro. They call it toro toro style. Just point point, and they give you some of it on a plate. That's basically what we are. We are carinderia, but we've taken it up a notch, a step. And one of the at one time we were the biggest carinderia in Davao City, and so that exposure gave us the finances to be able to put some good equipment into the place, and it also gave us the ability to be able to uh, take over the two spaces that became available that were alongside us. So now we have four spaces. So for me, that was a sign. Okay, I can dedicate half of the original two space for a kitchen and serving table, and then and allow space for people to come in. And then the other two are going to be totally all dining. And it allowed us to extend the front out by 6 feet and put an awning cover over it. So we're able to put a whole bunch of tables out there. So all in all, I think we had maybe between 35 and 40 tables, something like that. So it's amazing the influence that one person has over a business, and that's why today they're called influencers. But I don't like this new brand of influencer because they basically call you up. Hey, listen, we want to come in and do a food review on your restaurant or eatery, whatever it is. Um, and they expect it for free. They expect it for free, and I don't like that. No, I don't want it here. And they'll come anyway, and just to try and demolish, uh, do a demolition job on your business. It's happened to so many here. So better off if in the Philippines here if you have nothing to do with that. because a true food vlogger will go in unannounced, will be just like a regular customer, feel the experience, and write about it. That's a true, and those are a credit to the industry, and we appreciate those people. We appreciate them. But the rest, no, don't bother. Take it somewhere else. So we're going along. We're going along pretty good here now. Uh, Lots of new equipment. Lots of people coming in to the point that I had to put 2 cashiers in there. And so you think, well, no, you guys must be making money hand over fist by now. No, no, because um, we're reinvesting. That was the most important because our reason for starting the restaurant in the first place was to make uh, employment for people, good jobs, and give them good training. And so we lived in a small little townhouse, me, my wife, her sister, and our first child. And it was like $200 Canadian a month, 8,000 pesos for this place. It was nothing fancy, nothing. When it would rain, the water would come inside. It was not a not a very good place. And I was driving an old pickup truck, you know. That was it. So everything went into the restaurant. Everything went into that restaurant. And let's see here. I'm just checking my notes as I go along. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that as I was going back and forth to Canada, it just wasn't any good because my wife was having to. I didn't want to leave her with the responsibility of the child. It took two of us to make it, and it's going to take two of us to raise it. So, I cut that out, and we were both full force into the restaurant. I was supportive. I'm just volunteering my time. That's it. That's her business. I'm supporting her 100%. But it keeps me here. It gives me a place to live and putting food on the table, and mostly and helping with the kids. And our place was unique because we never had any. Uh, if you come to the Philippines, music is big here. A lot of restaurants, they'll have music blaring. If you go on the sidewalk, they'll have these big ass speakers, and the music is just blaring. And I don't know how you can go into those places because you have to make it through the sound waves of the coming out of the speaker in order to be. I avoid it like the plague. I don't mind music, but like tone it down so my head is not vibrating. So, but we had none in our place. No radio, no TV. And what was the result of that? It was great. People loved it, especially tourists. Yes, foreign tourists. We were starting to get a lot of those. And so they really appreciated that. And, they were sitting down, you're very close because we had, combined space. But boy, we packed the tables in there and the people were there. And so they got to converse. You had tourists coming in there. You had taxi driver. You had tricycle driver. That's just somebody on a pedal bike with a little cart that you can take a passenger. Everyone, that's the kind of clientele, students. So it was a really nice mix of people in there. And all you heard was the fork and spoons going and good conversation. I really liked listening to that. And better than any TV or radio. So it gave a really nice atmosphere to the place. And the most of our money was spent on the kitchen and equipment. And equipment to make sure that the food was handled and stored properly. So our dining area was very basic. It's just walls. We might have had one little banner up there kind of explaining our business motto, and that was pretty well. It was as simple as it can get. And my mindset on doing that was, listen, you go into a fancy restaurant and you got fancy tables, chairs, cutlery, and all these fancy. You're paying for that. You are paying for that. Well, my deal was I want people to come there and only pay for the food that they're getting. Right? And that's what it was. We kept it clean. It was neat, well painted, maintained, but in the end, the people weren't paying for the paint on the wall. They were just paying for the food. So that worked out very good. And we were able to keep our food we were in an area of the business where we were able to keep our food prices low because we bought on large uh, volume. So we're a high volume, the numbers. So at one point we were up to around 2,200 people a day. Maybe just underneath a quarter of that is actually paying customer. The rest are friends that are coming in, a lot of sharing going on. It's like now during this COVID-19. We have people coming in. It's restricted. We're only allowed 50% of this place. It took 100% to be able to make it run, but now we're strapped at 50%. So it's this industry is really a struggle, and it's always a challenge, always a challenge. So again, we were getting a nice variety of clientele: doctors, lawyers, students, taxi drivers, tourists from all over the world. It was really really good. Let me see. So what was my responsibility all the while that uh, this was going on? Well, my wife figured, you know what, you better learn the language here. So she told me, why don't you go take your tricycle, motorized tricycle, and go down to the market called Boncaron Market and get the supplies for the restaurant early in the morning, and then you'll learn the language. So off I go, and I go in there, and nobody was speaking the local dialect. They all want to use their English on me, so that went out their window really quick. But I got to tell you, it was a highlight of my day going down there every day, meeting those people, because they're salty of the earth people, really great. Big old smile as soon as you walk through the door. And they give me good pricing. Sometimes they give me better pricing than they would give somebody else. It's just great. I really love those people down there. Salt of the earth people, really, really good. That was a really good experience down there. And even during the COVID time, one guy would go to all my places where I would normally pick up, and he would bring it out to me, and wouldn't take any money for it. It doesn't get any better than that. So it's overall, these 15 years here has been a very good experience with these people. Yes, you're going to get butt heads, and butt heads are everywhere. But overall, salt of the earth people, right? Just like back home. We got good salt of the earth people back home. They're everywhere. You got a mix of human beings everywhere. I don't do this nationalistic garbage. We're all human beings. There's only one race, the human race, and you got a mix of people and different attitudes all the way through it. So when we leave the nationalism out of it, it's a totally different ball of wax. So, going to the market, I was hauling. We were going through 120 kilos of Carabao meat, almost the same in pork, and a lot of chicken. And we were hauling. We were also picking up what they have, the gill of the tuna called the panga. We were picking that up. My little buggy was just loaded, and I was doing this myself, so it was great exercise for me. I haven't been doing it lately. I got quite a pouch happening here now, but hopefully we can get back to normal here once this COVID-19 dies. Um, so I was glad to have that because a lot of foreigners come here, and the beach and the seawater. It's okay for a while, but after a while it gets a little bit boring. And a lot of the guys that come here to live here, they end up really bored, or they're just angry, and every little thing ticks them off, and they get nationalistic, and they get on these foreigner groups, and they're just chewing one another off. And oh, I'm so glad not to get it, because the beach, it gets boring after a while, and you start losing it unless you have something to do. And the guys that do invest money, they get into bars. Oh man, it's just a nightmare. For everyone that opens, there's two of them that closes down. So I was glad I got into this level of food service. This is the next rung up the ladder from street food. So it was a very good experience. Uh, Now, the next thing I'm going to deal about is soft drinks. You won't believe this story coming up, but we'll save that for the start of part 3 of the history of the Blue Carabao. All right, you folks, take care, and Have a great day or night wherever you're at. Over and out.